Welcome back to the Football Tragics. I'm your host, Aaron. I'm joined here by Tony, Campo, and Morty. We've got a full squad here today. How are we all doing, guys?
Good, lads.
Good.
Very good.
For the first time ever, I believe, we've got Spurs sitting top and Arsenal sitting bottom of the table in the same game week to end the day. Campo, over the moon?
Nothing could top this day.
Usual Spurs celebrating.
Well, I'm just going to pull up the results because I didn't have them ready. So give me 1 second and we're going to get straight into it. So first game of the round. Man City up versus Arsenal. 9:30 kickoff it was for us. What a game. Campo, start us off with this game, mate. 5-0.
You don't know what Arsenal are doing. They didn't go out with a plan A, a plan B if it didn't work. There was no tactics in that team to suggest they would even counterattack or anything. They went out there to lose. And they lost.
Myself and Tony had a few Arsenal fans on straight after the game. So if you haven't watched that, go check it out. It's post-game reaction. Good laugh. They weren't too happy, but they were obviously expecting it in a way. You just look at that lineup straight away from Arsenal. 5 at the back. 3 of them probably don't know how to play in a back 5. The other 2 are championship quality footballers. It would just scream disappointment from get-go. Callum Chambers gets out-jumped 5 minutes in from Gundogan, who's about 5'5", maybe a tiny bit higher than that. And then 2-0 not long after. So it's just game over straight away. City, on the other hand, looked good. They clicked. They went with Jesus on the right and Ferran Torres up top, which I think is working for them. So I don't know. Do they need a striker, or are they going to? Do you think this is enough for them? Do you think they can rock with this, Tony?
I think obviously we've seen that they're probably not going to get a striker, especially in this window, or that's what it looks like. But, I mean, with Torres, the way he's playing the last 2 games, I don't think they're too stressed if they get one in this window. They might wait till January. They might go hard next year for someone that likes of Haaland. But, it's hard to tell because I think anyone that's played Arsenal this year has looked good regardless of who they play in what position.
Yep, so it's now 3 games played for Arsenal, 0 goals, 3 defeats, bottom of the table, as I said. It's not looking good for them. Is it too soon to say Arteta out? I believe he's been given 5 games before this game, so 4 to go. I've been saying at North London derby, I think if he loses that, he's gone. Campo, you probably agree with me there, but in being a Spurs fan, you want him to stay because he's just getting worse and worse every week. Morty, what were your thoughts on the game?
Look, I expected more from City, to be honest. After that first 10 minutes, they'd already 2-0 up, and it was just looked like it was all over from there. And then when Xhaka got sent off for his almighty stupidity, I thought it was but they kind of regrouped a little, and they weren't as easy to break down. But, yeah, the game was done, buried. City, let's not forget that they did lose to Spurs for round 1. Like, when it comes to a team that is a bit more organised, they're going to need a striker to help actually break down that defence. Because he's got good footwork, he can shoot.
Don't forget that they started last season quite slow as well, and they're already leaps ahead of that with 2 5-0 wins in a row. So, if last season was anything to go by, then they're just getting started, and they do look good, but. Again, you're playing Arsenal, and at this point in time, it's like you're playing Norwich. Sorry, Arsenal fans to hear that, but it's just the reality of it. That literally is the reality of it. And obviously, we're going into the international break now, but just after that, we've got a relegation battle. We've got Arsenal versus Norwich. That'll be an absolute cracker. But yeah, Arsenal are in disarray. They're in shambles right now. We just saw reports this morning, Tony. You said they're looking at getting. Calvert-Lewin, apparently that's been agreed.
Yeah,
we don't know yet.
Yeah,
so obviously transfer to deadline day is in a day or 2. So we'll do a deadline day special, of course. But for now, that hasn't been done. If it is done, why? That is not the position they need, is it? Yes, he's a good goal scorer and he's probably better than Aubameyang right now. But you will now have Aubameyang, Lacazette and Calvert-Lewin, 3 number 9 strikers. You've seen how Aubameyang can't play on the wing. Calvert-Lewin's not going to play on the wing. What's the point of having 3 number 9s when clearly there's other positions that need strengthening?
Why do they refuse to sign a winger? Like, yes, they've got Pepe, but they keep playing with like this front two where Pepe's not even a winger at the end of the day. Campo just likes to hate on him, but
Well, I think
realistically they don't
I
play
believe-
with a front three.
I believe
play with-
Williams allowed released from his contract. He opted to release from his contract so he can go. He's back to Brazil. So that's another winger they're losing. Yes, he didn't offer much last season, but you need depth. They don't have it. That right back position, Bella and Cedric, neither of them are good enough. The only player who I can genuinely say is trying his absolute hardest every week is Kieran Tierney.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because he probably deserves a lot better. He probably should have stayed at Celtic. He'd probably have better chances of he'd be playing in Europe. It's quite embarrassing for Arsenal.
On Tierney, though, he is so good at going forward, but he doesn't know how to defend properly. He ball watches, he gets dragged in all the time.
That's the problem. He's getting dragged in to cover other people's mistakes.
Yeah,
it happened against Chelsea, and it obviously happened countless times here. It's because he's trying to cover other people's mistakes that he's now getting caught out of position, which is why their centre backs just not good enough. They are without Ben White, obviously, without Gabriel as well. So 2 starting centre backs, but still not good enough. Again, if you haven't watched our review of that game specifically, it was an absolute cracker. So go check that out. Moving forward, though. Next game on the list was, let me find it, Newcastle Southampton. That was a cracker. Bit dead until halftime, you'd say, and then came alive. 2 90-plus minute goals. So Newcastle looked like they won the game, set maximum, and then James Ward-Prowse converts a penalty. Good old golf swing celebration. Tony, thoughts on the game?
I think this game went the way we thought it was going to go. I didn't think there was ever going to be a clear winner. I did tip the draw in this game. In saying that, they probably were lucky. Obviously, Southampton get that penalty, I think it was in the 94th minute, but stupid challenge. You back your keeper there, or I don't know. In that instance, when you're coming from behind, you've just got to back that your keeper's going to make a save. You can't be jumping in like that in the box. And in the end, Prowse, he can score from 18 yards, from 13, 12, whatever that penalty spot is. He's not going to have a problem finding the bottom corner, and that's what he did.
I correctly predicted it 2-2 actually, so I'm pretty proud of that myself. But like you said, that challenge in the box, it's stupid. You can't be making those challenges in the box. You're giving the ref every opportunity to give a penalty. VAR again stiffing Newcastle. I mean, correct call, but that's 3 weeks in a row now. They've been hard done by, I suppose, but that's just not good enough. I think they're now 12 games winless at St James's Park, which is one of those. It's the famous stadium. There's movies made about it. It's just not good enough. And if they're going to stay in the Premier League, they need to be winning at least at home. So not looking good. Campo, what were your thoughts on it?
I said St. Maximin would, be vital in that game, and he should have scored the winner. It should have been done. But to be fair, Southampton did deserve a point in that game. They were the better team.
Definitely, yeah.
They should have won that game with all the chances they had. But, they're lacking. If they had Danny Ings, they win. But at the end of the day, if they don't have, they're missing that number 9. Armstrong, he's looking good, but he's no Danny Ings.
No, and Che Adams is probably a little bit out of his depth as well. Like he's not that Danny Ings, like you said. But anyway, we've got Everton taking on Brighton here. We'll start with you, Morty, your Merseyside rivals here. 2-0 win, good win away from home. What were your thoughts on the game?
This is about the only thing I tipped right this week. It was a bit of an upset. I mean, everyone was getting on the Brighton train, but as we saw last year and as we saw in this game, they're dead against the bigger clubs and the thing, and they can't really battle it out. They don't have the strike power to get up there, and they kind of just Calvert-Lewin put one away, and the game was pretty much dead from there. Everton just got the job done. Wasn't too pretty.
I think it was only really an upset is because of how Brighton looked in the first couple of weeks. But as you said, they've kind of gone back to reality. They didn't really do too much this game. The big talking point out of this game was Richarlison's crybaby moment with the penalty. Wanted to take that. Calvert-Lewin obviously slots at home. He is their penalty taker. I guess Richarlison's forgetting he missed one in the Olympic final. So short memory for him there. But who knows? I don't, as Tony said with the transfer, if they lose Calvert-Lewin, Everton's in a bit of a pickle now because they won't have time to reinvest that money, I don't think. and he's probably been their best player for the last season or two.
Maybe the most consistent. I wouldn't say best. You can't.
Well, reports say that they're not going to sell until they have a replacement lined up anyway.
Kane.
Yeah, so okay. So, I mean, look, yeah, maybe they do have a replacement already, but if it's true that Richarlison's also possibly going to PSG, they're not going to want to lose both in the same window, so one has to stay.
I don't think Richarlison's going this window. He will be the biggest bench warmer on planet Earth behind that front.
All right, well, let's get into West Ham versus Palace. Another draw here, 2-2 draw. It's another exciting game. Antonio scoring, as he has been, keeps breaking that record. But Palace looked good this game. Really took it to West Ham. I think West Ham were quite underwhelming. But Conor Gallagher, he's in the right hand of the screen there. 2 goals. His first 2 goals for Palace. Tony, thoughts on the game?
I actually thought you were talking to me before when you said Antonio, so I was a bit confused when you first said that. But no, it was one of those games where just West Ham just couldn't get away from them. They probably deserved to win, but every time they did score, Crystal Palace pegged them one back. And it's their first drop points of the season, but it also shows their resilience that they did go ahead 2-1. Yes, they got drawn back into a 2-2 draw, but good things happening over there.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're not done in the transfer window either. Obviously, Kurt Zuma signed for them, which is a great deal because they definitely needed a centre back strengthening there for depth, and he will start, I would presume, especially ahead of Craig Dawson. Campo's one of Campo's favourite players. He loves him. But yeah, so if they can make 1 or 2 more signings in the window, I think they're gonna have a little bit of depth. Be able to go further in Europe. They've got quite a favourable European draw, I believe. So it just depends on how much they prioritise the league again this year, or do they go for a cup. But yeah, I don't think West Ham look great. But again, a draw is better than loss. So still undefeated to start the season. You can't ask for too much more, and your striker scoring goals. Now, Leicester City versus Norwich City. Cracker of a game. Leicester just edging the 2-1 victory. If it was a bit of luck from the assistant ruling out a offside goal for Norwich, would have been an equaliser. Morty, I don't know if you saw it, but Cantwell right in front of the keeper. Good call.
I haven't seen it, to be honest. This is probably one of the games I
throw you under the bus there, mate.
All I can say is that this is probably one of those games that give us that doubt for Leicester moving forward the rest of the season where, yes, on their day they can be great, but they've proven that they might be still a bit average. So,
well, Jamie Vardy still scoring goals. They needed Mark Albrighton to bail them out of this game, though. It's a name you probably haven't heard in a little while. He's only 31, but he's definitely not a starter at Leicester. Did start this game, but I don't know if they've got the legs. I don't at all, especially with Europe coming up. I think we'll see them falling back a little bit further. Tony, what are your thoughts on Leicester? Were you impressed with this game? Or
I won't say I was. I mean, Norwich were eventually going to put a good game together. So, I mean, I'm not impressed by Leicester as per se, but we saw what happened last time Norwich were in the Premier League. They had games like this where they took it to the top teams. And based on the last couple of seasons, you have to call Leicester one of those top 6 teams. And when you win games and play ugly, those are the points that you want to take. I think the goal, although it was harsh to get it taken off him, I think based on the rules, you have to. He was offside. He was impeding the keeper. Would he have got there? No. But as per the rules, you had to take it off him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Obviously, they would have loved a point, but I'm sure they'll be happy enough that after 3 games played, they're not bottom of the table, just. So, I mean, they're going down, but they're not bottom of the table, so they've got that to look after. Another team I think that's been a little underwhelming here, Villa, taking on Brentford, 1-1 draw at home. Danny Ings firing blanks for the first time this season. Campo, thoughts on the game?
Ivan Toney stepping up to give the Killer Bees their lead, and then a lovely little goal from Buendia, absolutely top corner, and then the game fizzled out. There were no real clear-cut chances after that. And another point for Brentford, keeps pushing him in the right direction, haven't lost yet this season. So you couldn't ask for much more if you're a Brentford fan. Yeah,
definitely. Obviously, Ivan Toney did open his account for the season, first Premier goal. I think it just confirms what we've been saying, what I've been saying about Brentford. They're just happy to grind out these games. They're not going to play this, amazing football, but they're getting points on the board, and it's going to be enough, I think, to keep them in the Premier League. I think Villa have been quite underwhelming with the signings they've made. I think everybody, including myself, probably expected a lot more of them, and maybe Campo was right here. Maybe I don't know if I go down, but maybe he was right. They're not going to click like they should be. So I think they've got a lot of room to improve here. Maybe they're going to get better, but I think they're taking time to adjust to the fact that they don't have Jack Grealish to kind of rely on, I suppose. And then going into another draw, it's the big one of the week. Morty versus Aaron, Liverpool versus Chelsea. 1-1 draw. It was a firecracker. Morty, I'll let you start this time.
Oh, you're going to let me start? I want to hear you.
I'll be a gentleman, man. I'll let you go for gold.
What do you want me to start?
I'd love you to.
No, all right. Look, obviously from the get-go, first 20 minutes, it was a good grind. Liverpool had their chances. Chelsea had their chances. It was shaping up to be a cracker of a game. Havertz puts his miracle header away. I call it the miracle header. Whether he meant that or not,
what do you think he meant to do? Put it out for a corner? Put it out for a throw-in?
I thought he was just heading along to the back post for someone else to finish. Too. That was from what I saw. But at the end of the day, goal's goal. Can't take it off him. Major goals been scored. And then Liverpool turned it on a bit more, and then Reece James turned into the goalkeeper there. What happened?
All right, well, let me get into I've got a couple of notes here written down. Let me just get into that straight away. I do want to mention Liverpool failed to create a single big chance in the second half, despite having Chelsea 10 men. Pretty poor, I believe. On that red card call, at the time, very heated. Everybody saw in the group chat. I wasn't a happy man. I do think it could have been a yellow card. I don't think it was enough for a red. But I guess upon watching it back and calming down a little bit, red might have been the right call. My main issue with this is the fact that Anthony Taylor, who, by the way, has the strongest agenda against Chelsea, it's clear as day. You can see threads upon threads of him costing us games and shambolic calls. It was literally a week ago when I saw that he was on this game, I knew there was something going to happen. So it did. But with this VAR call, they've called him over to go to the screen. He has literally gone to the screen for 2 seconds, looked at a freeze frame and made his mind up. Fair enough if that's his decision, but that's the point of you going to the screen, to not rush a decision. Why go to the screen if you're just going to make your mind up literally without looking at a video, literally looking at a freeze frame? He's been told by VAR, whoever's in the box, to go look at the screen, and he's barely done it. He's just gone, yep, that's enough for me, red card. So that was my issue with it.
Was he going to the screen for the penalty, or was the penalty a given and he was going to the screen for the red card?
Regardless of what he's going to the screen for, you don't need to rush that decision.
I understand that. At the end of the day, it was a correct call, but yes, it probably could have been handled a bit better. Whether they're on the mic, him telling him situation as it was, or they're showing him that, I
think that from minute one, he had lost control of this game when he didn't card Fabinho, didn't card Matip early on when they were both cardable offences. So somehow a Liverpool player,
fair share of cards that didn't come out. I
don't remember a Liverpool player getting carded at all. Huh? But yet you were the much more aggressive team all game. So I don't know how that works. Yep, I'm correct. You didn't get a single card all game. Salah didn't get carded for kicking the ball away blatantly, which are just basic yellow card offences. Everybody knows that. It's just unsporting behaviour. What did
Alonso do to him before that?
What did he do to him before that? Gave away a simple foul that's not a yellow card offence because it's his first challenge.
Do me and Campo get to talk about this game, or is it just you two that are going to go back?
Possibly. I've got my notes. I'm sorry. I've got to get through my notes.
Didn't even give away the foul. Salah gave away the foul. The hacking at him after he got pulled up from him. That's what the situation was. Anyway.
Yes, and then kicking the ball away is a yellow cardable offence. But yeah, Rudiger got a card for an unsporting behaviour, so why doesn't Salah? That's my issue there. So I think Anthony Taylor completely got this wrong. I want to mention both Salah and Mane weren't great. Obviously, Salah scored a penalty. The only Liverpool player who impressed me this game was Harvey Elliott, and he's 18 years old. Yes. And then also, despite everybody saying, Van Dijk and Matip pocketed Lukaku, I think Lukaku played his role perfectly after the red card, did everything he could be asked of, playing lone striker, held the ball up well. That's my notes done. Tony, what are your thoughts on the game?
Can I finish the second half of the game, or did you cut off as soon as I called him a goalkeeper?
We'll let Morty go, and then me.
All right, Morty, I'll let you continue for now, and then we'll go
so
to Tony.
clear, Lukaku played 45 minutes of the game with 11 on the pitch.
And he spun Van Dijk to the ground
once, and he also got pocketed about 5 times in the first half
because he was playing lone striker.
He wasn't the first.
He barely got pocketed first half. First half, he played his role very well, and second half. I don't know if you watched the same half as me.
I definitely watched the same half. I think you're just trying to justify a $100 million price tag.
Because what did you see from him that wasn't good enough?
But I've been fucking murdered the past 2 years in the pod for an $80 million centre back. So we're just going. Apparently, he's played his role for one game, but Van Dijk hasn't played his role for 2 years. 3 years.
I didn't say that Van Dijk had played a bad game. I think both him and Matip played a good game. But I think that these people writing Lukaku off saying he got pocketed is a complete and utter nonsense, because I don't think he got pocketed.
That's just Twitter having a laugh. That's what happens. That's not the real story of the game. Like, fair enough. Lukaku was there to do his job. But
what were your thoughts on Liverpool failing to create a single chance in the second half, despite having a man up, two men up?
My issue is at the moment, right? Harvey Elliott, yes, he played well, but at the same time, he's supposed to be playing that midfield role, and he was basically playing as a second right wing behind Salah, playing in all the space that Salah left behind him when Salah was getting marked out of the game. Now,
don't you mean third right wing? Huh? Your fullback third right wing too.
It's pretty much, and that was. I think that I was a bit frustrated for me, and like the game sort of cleaned up a bit more when Henderson came off as well. Like I'm not against Henderson completely, but I'm against a Henderson Fabinho double in the middle, unless we don't have a number 10 there that's like a proper attacking midfield to let those two sit back, and Henderson tries whatever the hell he tries, and it frustrates me sometimes. But yeah, look, second half, Chelsea parked the bus. He got the tactics right. I can't argue with that. But yeah.
So, as a Liverpool fan, are you unimpressed with your performance? Because obviously, going down to 10 men, we take a draw any day of the week. However, that 3 points is up for grabs for you guys. So that's 2 points dropped, without a doubt, at home.
I agree, but at the same time, we had our own problems as well. Firmino came off injured. We weren't ready to pull him off yet. Like we probably.
But then you have quite a able replacement in Diego Jota.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So Firmino is probably technically the better player to be trying to break down that defense in the box, rather than Jota's the ball attacking footballer that can get in behind. There's no room to get in behind. So I think if it played the opposite way around and started Jota and then bring Firmino onto that park the bus, we could have had a different result then. But
happy with the draw?
All things considered, no. But from going through that game, there's not much you can do. In hindsight, I would have probably rather James get the yellow card and stay on.
I think the game would have opened up more for sure, and probably would have benefited you guys as well, because you do like to open teams up, play that fast, fluid football. Look, I'll take a draw. Obviously, as a Chelsea fan, I think it was probably the fair result in the end. I think we did brilliantly to hang on there. Our defence showed a lot of resilience. Tony, thoughts on the game now? Let you get involved.
I mean, all I wanted to do was G you up, and you guys did that perfectly, so I didn't really have to jump in.
It was already ready.
No, obviously, looking at what happened, I think good result for Chelsea, poor result for Liverpool, especially Chelsea going down to 10 men. Liverpool would have thought perfect opportunity to take all 3 points. With the VAR call, I think the decision was made before he even got over to the monitor. It's just, I think it's something they've been told that they have to go to the monitor now. They want him to go to the monitor for penalties and red card decisions. And I think that's purely why he was there. He walked over, saw the arm was separate from the body, and he went with what VAR said upstairs.
That's just a problem, though, because that's just going to cause controversy even more. Like, why put it in his hands when he's not even making the decision? Leave it with VAR and say,
we'd be sitting here the same thing if he would have said VAR said it's a clear penalty and a red card. We'd be sitting here.
But then that's on VAR, then they can explain themselves, not having the scapegoat, Anthony Taylor.
But we don't know. He might have walked over and they might have said, do you think it's a handball? We think it's a red. Go see if you think it's a handball. He saw the hand out from the body moving like forward in the freeze frame.
That's the thing. He didn't. He saw a freeze frame. You can see how bad freeze frame. I showed you one today of Paul Pogba that you don't think's a foul, but on that freeze frame is a blatant red card.
That's a lie. I said it was a foul. I thought it was a foul yesterday in the group chat when it actually happened.
Yeah, we'll get on to that. We'll move on to that.
Campo, thoughts on the game real quick before we move on?
On the second half, Chelsea had one glorious chance that they should have won it with. It fell to Mason Mount, I think.
No, Kovacic, so not the ideal person.
I thought it was Lukaku who made the move. It went through all the
Lukaku played it into Kovacic and he was 1-on-1 with keeper. So
I think that chance should have really sealed it for Chelsea as a win against all odds, but it was a solid defensive display in the second half, and I think a point each was deserved.
Yeah, I think obviously, as you all said, Morty would be unhappy with the draw, but I don't know, going into the international break, you've played Liverpool now, you've got them out of the way, take a draw. For myself, at Anfield, you take it. Maybe it is 2 points dropped for Liverpool, but again, draws are better than losses. So another 1-1 draw here. Villa take. Oh no, we've already gone that one. Sorry, Burnley taking on Leeds. Third 1-1 draw of the night, was fifth draw of the weekend. It was ridiculous. Leeds lackluster, played Burnley's game, not their own. Tony, what were your thoughts on this?
To be honest, exactly the way I thought it was going to go. I did think Leeds would have offered a bit more, but as we know how hard it is to break down Burnley's low block, and we know how much they love to absorb pressure and then hit on that counter attack. And I think this was the game, if I'm not mistaken, at the 30,000th goal in the Premier League did go in.
Yes, Chris Wood.
And in typical Burnley fashion, it was we'll absorb a bit of pressure and we'll go sneak a goal in.
Yeah.
So yeah, not too many surprises and a disappointing result, I think, for Leeds, to be honest.
Yeah, I called a low-scoring game. I thought Leeds would take it 1-0, so I was right in that aspect. It was low-scoring. But yeah, Leeds just couldn't really get going. And Burnley do well at, counting teams out, making sure they can't play their own football. Leeds are going to be very, I think, disappointed with the way they've started this campaign. What are they on, 1 point from 3 games? With a couple decent games in there. The only one I can see that they should have lost was United.
Or are they on 2? They got the draw last week, 2-2 as well.
Did they?
In the draw this week.
Sorry, they did. But yeah, I still stand by the fact that I think this is a poor start to the season for them. When you got the likes of Brentford, who have come up and have gotten 3 points against Arsenal, I think, Leeds might be in for a long season here because it's not all going to be.
At Arsenal yet. That's guaranteed 3 points.
It is. It's guaranteed 3 for most teams, I think, these days. But yeah, I think, as I said, I don't think Leeds will be pretty happy with the draw. Campo, thoughts on that?
Burnley, they deserved to win that game. They were playing the better football. Leeds kept making mistakes, trying to play it out the back. They didn't strengthen their defense, which they should have. Their defense is very fragile. Burnley were the more aggressive team. Leeds were just trying to hit them on the counter. I was really surprised to see Burnley actually wanting to win. They didn't just sit back, absorb. It was, you know what, Dwight McNeil, you try to do it all. If you can't, and switch it over to the other winger and he'll try to do it all. It was just a different Burnley from the previous years, and it's refreshing, I say.
Refreshing.
I don't know what game you were watching, but it didn't look like a refreshing Burnley whatsoever.
Because I was watching it at the same time as Tottenham and Leeds. They both had spells where it wasn't just Leeds, pressure. It was Burnley created the more chances. They were the more aggressive team.
They also had 30% of the ball. Like
you can just do much with it.
Yeah, I know, but it's just typical Burnley shithousery. They're a frustrating team to watch, and it's just like they're doing more hindrance to themselves than good.
I think that's their style, and they know that though. They play to that. Sean Dyche is fine with that. They know they frustrate teams, and that's what's brought them, well, I suppose, success, staying in the Premier League for so long.
But at the same time, they got up there with that sort of thing, but as it's gone on, every team's had to adjust their tactics. Everyone's gone along with things. Burnley have stayed the same, and they've keep falling down the ladder. And they're honestly this year away from going down the drop.
But you could say that the last few years they've been falling down the ladder. and they
That's what I'm
just
saying,
know
like-
they're never really. It's not final day. They're surviving. They're safe 3 or 4 games in advance, so
Yeah, but
they
that's
know their job.
more-
And yes, they might overstay their welcome, maybe, but I think they're doing enough. And they love that they play that terrible football and they embrace it. Kemp, I want to stay with you real quick again for this game. Spurs taking on Watford 1-0. Wasn't the prettiest again, but what are your thoughts on it?
We had all the possession, all the chances. Every time they tried to break with Sarr, he got chopped in half. I like that tactic. If your best player has the ball, take him out. But again, not a scrappy win because we had all the control, but it was a deserved win, not like the other two where we just scraped through. But this was the actual first time I could say we deserved 3 points in this game, and you can look forward to the international break now.
Say it, Camper. Say it. Say what you want to say, Camper. Where are you coming? Say it.
Number 1 is coming.
Oh God!
We'll say that last year.
No, well, they were on top of the table last year for a day, I believe. I don't think it even lasted a game week though, did it?
No,
It was literally just a day.
it's probably the same thing again where they'll fall to second after the first game gets played next round.
Well, look, three wins out of 3. You've knocked off City. Yes, you're not playing the best football. You're not scoring a lot of goals. 3-3. It's not ideal, but you take points over goals. You can laugh at Arsenal being a Spurs fan. They're sitting complete opposite side of the table. Harry Kane yet to score, has he?
Yeah, their keeper put off some stupid saves to deny him this game. So they're coming.
I want to ask you. Do you think Heung-min Son is more valuable than Kane to Spurs right now?
No, they're both. It depends what you want to play. If we have 3 up top, that's all fast paced. But Sonny plays just as well with Kane. Kane creates Son's chances half the time. I don't know. Since he's committed a new contract, I'll say yes.
All right. It's fair to say you're a happy man. Tony, now we're going to go to you. Final game of the round, Wolves versus United, 1:30 this morning, however you want to put it. Thoughts on the game? Grinded out a win.
Let's just say I feel bad for Varane, sorry. He goes from playing so many years with Casemiro, and then I feel like the guy needed a beer 15 minutes after playing with Fred in front of him. I don't know if you boys are up, if you were watching it, if Camper had gone to bed after the Spurs game. There was a good 15, 20-second passage, and I'll try and find it and send it to you. Might even put it up on our socials, of Pogba standing there telling Fred where to move when Maguire had the ball in the back line.
Great watch.
And Fred's looking at him like, what are you talking about? And he's like, move into space. And he goes there and receives the ball and goes, oh, that makes sense. Again, it was a game that went both ways. We got torn apart by the big, incredible Hulk that likes to oil up his arms and wear a tight jersey.
That has no end product.
No end product, but he looked good. Like he set up a few of his teammates where they probably should have done better. A lot that hasn't been spoken about is Wan-Bissaka's clearance off the line.
Which was a Fred error.
If you want to talk about Fred error, he's going to go for another 4 hours. But yeah, he slid in, bent his leg in. I don't even know how he got it in that position, but he did enough to clear off the line. And then we've spoken obviously about the foul. When it first happened, I thought it was a foul. Then they showed it in fast motion and everyone was like, oh, okay, it's fine. And then obviously when we saw the slow-mo and still image, I wouldn't have been upset if that got pulled back. The only reason I think it didn't is there was 2 challenges prior to that were the exact same that got let go. And then in the actual foul, he takes 2 or 3 steps. And then when Pogba passes it, he stops and goes down.
He almost looks at the ref before he goes down.
Yeah, he tried to win the ball back. Pogba turned him and played it, and then he fell. And I think that's what led the whatever that new contact rule or whatever it was. But in saying that, I don't see if you're going to give one a foul, then last week's on Bruno was a foul, if that makes sense. One was a foot, one was a push. Mm-hmm. Both last year were penalties. Both last year's were fouls. Both this year's weren't.
Did this call go to VAR?
VAR checked it. Yep. And in saying that, I've read now on Twitter that the one on Bruno and the other one both got checked for red cards as well, and all 3 were dismissed by VAR.
David De Gea, double save. Back to his best, fair to say. He's been put bottom corner next to Campo there. He looked good. He's been pretty good this year.
I think he's just got his confidence back. He's enjoying himself. I think we saw that, obviously, with the double save. Probably the first one, he was probably lucky it came straight at him with the header. But then, obviously, that second one, he had no right to get down. Whether he just guessed the corner and hoped for the best. But, yeah, that's the David De Gea we got. Yeah, it's a David De Gea we got used to. And I think you saw post-game when they asked him about what they thought about Ronaldo signing, he went, who? Like, he's just taking the jokes. He's back in a good mind frame. And, yeah, I feel sorry for Henderson because when he's fit, I don't see him getting into the squad.
Obviously, look, you signed Ronaldo, happy days. However, with Fred there, I don't know how you guys are going to progress, how you're going to – I mean, look, this 1-0 win, you take it, but on another day, this is 3 points dropped. You could so easily have lost this game. And I think that the longer Fred is in that centre defensive mid spot, it is a liability because he doesn't free up Pogba. Pogba's now having to almost instruct him what to do, which is stopping him from playing his game. But going forward, you're going to score lots of goals. And I think you said it. You're probably happy to just play that, let's score more goals than you kind of vibe. However, I do think Varane looked like a Rolls-Royce signing already. He looks like a Van Dijk at the back, how he just transforms that backline straight away and just adds so much confidence. There you go.
It just
adds so much confidence with Maguire next to him as well. I think that'll help Maguire a little bit more as well. You've got Spider next to him, Wan-Bissaka with the covering. So I think United's backline, fine, great. Going forward, fine. That centre defensive mid, though, will catch them, I think, at times and will cost you points. That is all we have time for. I don't know if you boys want to quickly jump on anything else, but we haven't.
One thing. Do you boys want to change your top goal scorer predictions yet, or
Tony, Campo?
I mean, I did have this chat with Aaron. I'll take a minus. What is it? 4 weeks because can I switch to Ronaldo, seeing he's going to be replacing Martial? Is that possible?
Look, it's a fair shout. I think Ronaldo will certainly be up there. It'll be an interesting time, I think. But yeah, look, it's an international break soon, so we're not going to have a preview for a couple of weeks. However, we'll have a transfer roundup, which will be a big one, including the likes of all the different leagues. Messi going to PSG. Who knows where Haaland will go? Will Mbappe go to Madrid? But this is the best place you can catch it. Football Tragics, massive transfer roundup. We'll see you again soon. Peace.
Peace.